excuse me, I guess right away I owe you an apology because I screwed up the dates for the assignment that's due, well, it's due today and tomorrow, I guess. Um, that's what I meant to put down. Instead, I put down last Tuesday and last Wednesday. Sorry about that. I have no idea how that happened, um, other than that I screwed up. So sorry about that. But some of you have already posted your assignments, and I sent an email out to everybody saying, this is where we're due. I noticed we lost Zalika. I think that somebody in her family was really ill, and maybe she was just overwhelmed with it all, with everything she was trying to do in school because she's not down there anymore. I feel badly about that because she was a really good student. But I guess we should say a little prayer, hoping that everything is coming out well for her and her situation. We've had more than our share of crazy things this semester, haven't we? I mean, we had somebody who lost their fiance. I'm sorry, and somebody else who had COVID, and somebody else who had a young child in the hospital, and somebody had a death in the family, and oh my goodness, such a difficult semester, and there's only 10 or 11 of us all together, and we've certainly had more than our share of problems. So let's hope going forward things are good. Okay, you folks have really been doing a nice job all through the semester. I know that Oedipus Rex was not the easiest thing in the world. Hopefully, you were able to find it online and follow it that way. I did find it. Actually, last night I was looking through and I found a good act of it through Apollo Arts. It looked like it was really nicely done, and it was about an hour and a half long. So not a terrible amount, not a terrible length. It is a fascinating play. I've only read through one of your essays so far, so it's hard for me to comment a whole lot. But it is like, what a terrible situation. Okay, but now you'll know what it means when you hear somebody say somebody has an Oedipal complex or an Oedipus complex. Okay, now you know what that's all about. Because that's obviously it's based on Oedipus. Okay, and I don't need to fill in information on that story. I don't think. Because you read it and you're responding already. So it is, I hope what we've been doing all semester has to some degree been habit changing, maybe even a little bit life changing for you, okay? Because I'm hoping that as you read things, as you hear poems, you'll think about them in a different way, and so at least habit changing, but maybe even life changing. And what I want to talk about today, I see as to some degree life changing, because I want to talk. Well, there's a couple of things I want to talk about, but I want to talk about the fact, first of all, that movies are a kind of literature. Okay, yes, you don't have to read them, unless you're reading, uh, unless you're seeing foreign movies or silent movies. Excuse me. Um, but it is a kind of literature that's put on the screen for us. Okay, so I want you to interpret a movie as a piece of literature, so that when you go to a movie or you watch a movie on television, you really think about what it is you're seeing. You think about what's going on in the movie. And you think about the literary elements that we talked about this semester. So, in such and such a movie, how important was the setting? Okay? Or in such and such a movie, did the plot run in a linear manner? Or was it a more complex plot where you had flashbacks and jump aheads and that kind of thing? Or did I see characters develop? Were the characters the same near the end of the movie as they were at the beginning of the movie. Okay, um, and what was the message in this movie? What was the theme? Why was this movie presented to me? What was the author trying to say to us, or the writer trying to say to us? Um, and did he say anything to me? Okay, that's part of what we want to happen. So as well as irony. What kind of irony did we see in this movie? Because irony is pretty frequent in movies. Um, and it's a little bit ironic that I'm down here next to my piano because really it's been, I don't know, a couple of months maybe since I've had a chance to play it with all the other things I have going on. And seriously, I love this course. Um, and it takes me a significant amount of time. And certainly, you're not the only class that I have. So all of my courses take me a significant amount of time, as well as all the other things I have going on. So anyway, that's why I haven't gotten to my piano. I'm hoping after the semester ends, I'll get a chance to get back to it again because I love playing the piano. Okay, so anyway, movies. There's more to a movie than the action that takes place. There's more to a movie than the simple story that takes place. Okay, there's all of these elements of literature that we have worked our way through all the way along. I mean, we read the story about the fellow who he was an African American, and he had to go to that fight thing and then put on a presentation to receive the award they wanted to give him, which was a scholarship, of course, that he didn't know about. So certainly that was life changing. But there's a lot to that. That's not just a story. That is a message about lack of equality and moving toward equality and difficulties in life and meeting challenges. There's all sorts of that kind of thing in that story, okay? Well, in most movies, we have all of those same kinds of things going on, okay? So the movie that I asked you to see if you could get your hands on, and if you haven't, I'm sure you'll be able to find it online, is the Batman: The Dark Knight. Okay. Now there's also the Dark Knight Returns. It's not that one. It's The Dark Knight. Okay. I had the great good fortune to be in the theater for opening night of that movie. It opened at midnight on a Thursday night because new movies normally start on a Friday, and it was so exciting. People were so pumped up for it. And part of the setting was the costumes that people came in. It was really, really fun. Okay, and then in that movie, I know you're saying, why do I want to watch a Batman movie? Isn't that a guy movie and we're all women? That's not what I'm asking you to watch it for. I'm really not asking you to watch it for the story. Okay, I'm asking you to watch it for the elements of literature that are in there. The ironies. Oh my goodness, there are overwhelming ironies in that story. Okay, quick one that pops into my head. It's a scene that you'll see where there are two ferry boats cross. You'll see one in the distance and one up close. And what happens between the passengers on those two ferry boats? The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. And then we have the character of the Joker, who is so filled with ironic kinds of things. He was an amazing actor. Actually, the man who played the Joker wanted to really, really get into that role, and so he lived in a cabin for a while and blacked over the windows to keep daylight out because he wanted to get into a really dark frame of mind. And I wore a dark shirt tonight to help get you into a dark frame of mind about all of this. So we have the scene setting with that, as well as where the story is set, scene wise. And when you think about setting in there, um, think about brightness and or lack of same, brightness and or lack of same, and how that fits into the whole idea of Batman. Okay, so I know you're saying, why are we watching a movie about a comic book character? Because it's a movie that touches upon so many of the elements of fiction. It is just beyond belief. Okay, and you definitely will see character change, character development. It might not be positive. It might be positive, but it might not be positive. You know, and you'll see something really unusual in there. You'll see a principal character who doesn't make it through to the end of the movie. In fact, more than one principal character doesn't make it through to the end of the movie. And I'm not going to say any more because otherwise we'd need spoiler alerts here. But what I want you to do when you're watching that movie is jot down notes. Jot down notes yourself. Like, okay, I just saw some character development. Oh, wow, this was this powerful irony. Oh my goodness, look at the scene here. The scene contributes so much to it, and here's why. And the ironies that, wow, are so overwhelming, and the things that are foreshadowed in that movie, because there's a significant amount of foreshadowing. There is so much conflict, inter-character conflict in that movie. And these are the things that I want you to watch it for. So I love the story. You may or may not love the story. It is an action film. I strongly encourage you to watch it all at one time because the drama and the whole thing builds and builds and builds. And if you watch it in a couple of pieces, that disrupts everything that's going on. Okay, so again, I know you probably think there are other movies. Well, I love this movie for all of the elements of literature that are there, and I love high action movies, and a lot of this movie is high action. But you'll get a chance to get inside some characters too. That's a really neat part of this movie too. Is you can delve into characters to see what they're all about. And so I want you to figure out if characters are dynamic or not. And, if they're just a comic character or if they're just a caricature. And I want you to think about the actions that take place and the sequence that take place in, and maybe the message that the authors have for us, because that can be multiple depending on who we are. So I want you to sit back and enjoy that movie, again, all in one setting if you possibly can. Jot down notes that you go. Now, when you write your essay, don't spend your essay telling us what happens in the movie. We're all going to watch it, so we don't need you to do that. We need you to delve into some of the specifics that I've talked about. And I'll put that in the assignment for you, but that's really what we want you to do. So, oh, gee, let's have a video question this week, and I haven't even thought about this now. But let me ask you this one. Out of all the characters in the movie, which is your favorite and why? Okay? Out of all the characters in the movie, which one is your favorite and why? Oh, a little aside. The person that played the Joker, I told you he kind of sealed himself in a cabin and put black paper over the windows or black curtains over the windows to keep the light out because he wanted to create a feeling of darkness within himself. Unfortunately, he was so successful in achieving that sense of darkness within himself that he committed suicide. I mean, it's like, how sad can it be? There's an actor who really became a part of what he was doing. But that's what a good actor is, of course, is somebody who moves from whoever he is to the character that he's playing in that role. And why do I think this is life-changing? Because I think that probably most of you, once we can go back to theaters, or if you're a Netflix person or whatever, will see a fair amount of movies in your lifetime. And my hope is really that you think about what's going on in these movies. You think about these elements that make it up. You think about, okay, why do we have a first-person narrator in this movie instead of the typical third-person narrator, as most movies are? What does that do for me? So I want you to, you're all college people now. I want you to move past just a film as a piece of entertainment and move into a place where a film is not only a piece of entertainment, because it should be, but also something that's thought provoking, thought invigorating for you. Okay? And so and actually I got the idea for this a long time ago when we saw a really deep movie with some friends. And as we were leaving, I said, "Whoa, what'd you think of that?" And all I said was, "Oh, that was good." It's like, yeah, you know, what was it besides good? But oh, it was good, and that's all they wanted to say. It's like, come on. I'm hoping that all of you can move beyond the point of something just being good to something where it's really, something thought provoking and helps you to be who you are. Okay? So have a good week. You know where to get me, and I'll get the right dates down on this week's assignment. Okay? Take care. And again, you know where to get me if you need to.